Thank you for being here today. I'm Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego. We are here today because in less than 24 hours, 900,000 Arizonans are going to temporarily lose their SNAP benefits. And we don't know for how long. As many as 400,000 of those affected live right here in Phoenix. That's about 1 in 4 Phoenix residents. These are our friends, our families, our neighbors. We'd like to thank everyone for coming here today for such an important discussion. To Milt Lou and the entire staff and volunteers at St. Mary's, thank you so much for hosting us here today. To the incredible local leaders behind me, Shannon Clancy at St. Vincent de Paul, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Fowler and Major Joseph Cisneros of the Salvation Army, Jeff Bowles at the Creighton Community Foundation, Akila Stewart from Fibco Family Services, Beth Fiorenza from Nourish Phoenix, Cleo Lewis of the Cleo Lewis Ministries, Richard Yarbrough of Pilgrim Rest. Thank you all so much, I'm so grateful. We're all here today because this is an all-hands-on-deck situation. If a solution is not reached in Washington, D.C. or in the courts, this will be an emergency, it will be a crisis. Food insecurity across the country will skyrocket. Seniors will go hungry, families will go hungry, children will go hungry. Without federal funds to support SNAP, state and local governments do not have the resources to fill the gap. If we're going to weather this storm, it's going to take all of us, those of us who are able, to pitch in and help lift up those in our community who need it most. Those behind me will speak in a few minutes and tell us the best ways to help. For those who need help in coming days and weeks, we're here for you. The City of Phoenix has launched a new resource page with information about emergency food assistance, linked to food banks, and important information about key city resources, such as our senior meal program. Within the next week, we'll be launching a citywide food drive. One of the things I love most about Phoenix is that we look out for each other. We may be a big city, but it feels like a small town. We lend a hand to those who need it most. I know our community will do that again. I will now turn it over to Milt Lou, who is the CEO of St. Mary's Food Bank. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Milt Lou, and I'm super excited to have all of you in our building today. We are so proud of the partnerships that we have. Whoop. Is it on? Oh, okay. Sorry, there we go. Sorry about that. I'll start over again. My name is Milt Lou. I'm proud to be the president and CEO of St. Mary's Food Bank. During this time, it is so powerful here. No matter what happens in DC, what's so powerful is the group of people behind me. I'm really proud to call everyone, all of the organizations that are here today, as longtime partners of St. Mary's Food Bank. And that is an incredible superpower that we have here at St. Mary's. We like to say that food is our superpower, but it's also the network of folks that I have behind me that are a superpower. Over the next weeks, months, we're looking for continued community support, not just for us at St. Mary's, but again, for our network. And that's one of the things I want to emphasize today, is that of our 700 partners that we have here in the state of Arizona, over 250 are here in Phoenix. And so as folks look for resources, as folks look for help, it is this entire community that's poised to help. All right, thank you very much, and I want to introduce Shannon Clancy of St. Vincent de Paul.
Thank you, Milt. Thanks for hosting us. Thank you, Mayor Gallego. We know that 1 in 8 Arizonans are recipients of SNAP, and that means 1 in 8 of us right now are scared. And that's what we're hearing at St. Vincent de Paul and experiencing, is that families are scared, wondering where their next meal is going to come from, wondering how they're going to put food on their tables. And that's why this is so important. We know that at St. Vincent de Paul that every time a family has to spend $1 on food, they're scarce dollars, that means that they can't pay their rent. And that means they're in danger of losing their home. So food assistance is really homelessness prevention, and that's why we're all here today. But here's the good news. There are more of us in Arizona, there are more of us in the city of Phoenix that can help than need help. If 1 in 8 Arizonans need help with food right now, there are 7 of 8 of us that are in a position to help. and there are so many ways to help. So we encourage people to do a food drive with your workplace, with your school, with your neighbors, to donate monetarily to any of the food charities and food bank partners all across the city, all across the state. All those dollars will help us put food into people's homes. Or volunteer. This is a big lift, and we need every volunteer that we can get. So every contribution matters. $1, 1 can, 1 hour of time. And this is our opportunity in this moment to step up as the city of Phoenix, as the state of Arizona, to take care of people in our community. So thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Chuck Fowler from the Salvation Army.
If you thought you had a problem before with the mic, I'm sorry. Hold it up, that's what I wondered. There we go. All right. Thank you. For more than 150 years, the Salvation Army has been serving people around the world. And as a Christian organization, part of our mission is to meet human needs in Christ's name without discrimination. The Salvation Army is also deeply concerned about the effect that current events will have on vulnerable people in our communities that we serve. And today I'm happy to stand with the mayor and all of these fine organizations up here today in support of people in need. When a parent is dealing with such a fundamental need as how to feed their family, it affects so much more of their lives. As was already mentioned, having to make the choice between feeding your children, paying your rent, or getting critical medical care is a difficult choice to make for families in need. And so we want to be here to support those families. 2 days ago in one of our locations, just in one location on one day, there were 15 new families who had never been to the Salvation Army before seeking out our assistance. At another location, after just 90 minutes of being open, the doors had to be closed and many people turned away because we ran out of food that day. And so it's a very high need that we're already seeing in our facilities around the area. So we're grateful for partners like those standing up here who make all of this work possible. We're also grateful for the very large number of donors, individuals, businesses, and other agencies who enable us to perform our God-given mission to help people. But with this great need, of course, obviously becomes a greater need for support for the work that we do. And so whether you're someone in need or someone who can find a way to support us, I would encourage you to go to Salvation Army Phoenix or salvationarmysouthwest.org to find out more information. And for anyone who can give help, I would ask you to look deep within, reach deep down within, because you might be the conduit that God wants to use to help hurting families at this time. It's been my pleasure to be able to be here today. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And now I'd like to introduce Jeff Bowles from the Creighton Community Foundation. I'm not sure if you're too tall.
Let's see, what do you think? Do we put the microphone back in?
I don't know. You're kind of tall, too.
You guys vote for holding the microphone. I'm Jeff Bowles with Creighton Community Foundation. We operate around Creighton School District in East Central Phoenix, and we are also a faith-led organization. Mayor Gallego, thank you for inviting us here today. We are always grateful for your support, even going back to District 8 days when you were a council person, and how steadfastly you have supported our work in Creighton School District. We're one of the lowest income school districts in town, and it's interesting to see hunger right now get this much attention from SNAP benefits being held back. That's certainly a big system, but hunger is always with us. And it's one of these really silent, persistent, pervasive things that's always in our midst. We've heard some statistics about SNAP benefits, but hunger in Arizona is about 1 in 7 households in some areas. You start coming into Creighton in our low-income neighborhoods, and we see about 1 in 5 households that are encountering frequent food insecurity. You know 5 people? Anybody not know 5 people? It means if you're in our neighborhood, there's a good chance that somebody in your circle has encountered hunger. But you might not know it. Who tells you when they're hungry? And we're talking about something a little bit more deep and pervasive than just, oh, I skipped dinner last night because it was part of my fasting plan. You missed dinner, you missed breakfast, you missed lunch, you've got a gnawing pain in your stomach. You've got a kid whose wail you aren't going to forget. There's nothing quite like a kid who cries because they're hungry. There is so much captured in that moment, impact on your family, what's going on with you personally. I can't put food on the table for my kid. And we talk about the impact of hunger in education affecting child life outcomes, child life opportunity attainment. But it's even bigger than that when you think about how basic food is to every moment of your life. If you don't have food, almost nothing else has a higher priority to you. It's going to dominate what you do in the next hours. It's going to change your next movements. It's going to change the rest of your day, maybe the rest of your week, maybe cause the loss of a job because you're fighting to get food on that table somehow. And bigger picture, when you've encountered food insecurity, there's a severe impact on your long-term health, your long-term health outcomes. We see almost 45% type 2 diabetes in our food lines. We see loss of life in the limb because of type 2 diabetes. So food's not just a minor thing, it's a big thing. Now we see a systematic impact on the most successful food program in our country, in the world, I think, and SNAP benefits being held back. And we're going to have a lot of suffering around us. I encourage everybody to realize that you have power. Like we said, for every one person who's hungry, there's 7 more who are not. Bring a can to your local food collection. Find our programs on their websites. Make a monetary donation. Show up for a volunteer line. And we thank you for being here and listening today. Mayor.
Thank you so much. We are now available for questions and would encourage, these are great experts here, so we would encourage media present, if you're interested in interviewing these individuals, they have a lot of useful information to share.
Mayor, can we ask you a couple questions?
Yes, and if we could stay on Snap, that'd be great.
Yes, great. My question is this. I've talked to a lot of Arizonans who are impacted by this. I think a lot of them are frustrated that the entire reason we're in this because politicians in Washington can't come to a compromise. Does that frustrate you? Because I know it frustrates Arizonans.
This is not about the shutdown. We have had shutdowns before and continued SNAP benefits. There are billions of dollars sitting that are available today for SNAP benefits, and we need the federal government to decide to move forward with them. So really, this particular SNAP crisis is not about the shutdown. We are all rooting for the shutdown to end, but SNAP is a created crisis that we have not had in past shutdowns.
What can local representatives or local politicians do to fix that? Is there anything else besides using a voice that can be done to fix that?
As a local leader, we encourage people to sit down, meet, and address this, but the more acute emergency need right now is to distribute SNAP money that is sitting and available. We have billions of dollars available. That is a solvable problem today. This is unnecessary. We're so thankful that every level of government is trying to do more, but we need the federal government to solve this one.
Mayor, you mentioned the food drive, you're launching a food drive next week, right? Any other support, any other funding for people in Phoenix that they can go to look for?
So there are several different funding. The state, Governor Hobbs has announced additional. We are going to be trying to work with the city populations we serve, our clients. That includes Head Start, seniors, and the food bank. So the full listing would be on Phoenix.gov of what we are doing at the city level, and we are trying at every level of government to do more. But again, want to stress this. We send our tax dollars to Washington, D.C., and we need the federal government to step up here.
Do you think the state should tap into the rainy day funds? I know that would be a bipartisan effort, but AG Mays is encouraging it.
I would like to see the federal government shut this. I would like to see the federal government solve this. We send, again, our federal dollars to Washington, D.C. They have made certain commitments. They have the money to solve this today.
Mayor, I'd like to hear some details on the food drive next week. Just talk about some of the particulars about that.
Wonderful. We would particularly encourage people to donate protein, which we think is very important, and we will have ability to donate at several city sites. Our city housing department, the majority of our clients use SNAP benefits, and so we're going to be working with some of the partners here today to make sure we get more deliveries than we would typically do, because again, we want to do our part, but the federal government needs to solve this.
What's the capacity of the food banks across Arizona to handle this crisis over the next few weeks?
The reality is, as you heard earlier, for every one meal that food banks provide across the country, SNAP provides 9. So SNAP provides 9 meals, food banks provide 1. Here in Arizona, the gap is $155 million a month. So SNAP benefits in September were $155 million a month. There is no way, the math just doesn't work, there is no way that food banks can fill that entire gap. Having said that, St. Mary's has been serving Arizonans and folks in Phoenix for 60 years, and we pride ourselves in not turning people away, and we're focused on buying more food, collecting more food, and distributing food throughout Arizona to all of our partners behind me, as well as partners throughout the state.
If this goes on past November, how short do you expect St. Mary's to be and other community leaders in your network in terms of delivering assistance to people?
Well, yeah, well, what I would say is that we have approval from our board. We have a rainy day fund, and we are tapping into that rainy day fund. We've already purchased more food in anticipation of this because there is a supply chain. It takes a while to get the food here. But we have purchased more food in anticipation of an increase in demand next week, and we are focused on meeting the need.
Can you talk about the trickle effect? I mean, like if people will go to a smaller food bank, right, that's likely to run out of food more quickly than I'm assuming they might go to a St. Mary's. How does this all come together and come into play?
Yeah, great question. So St. Mary's, we run a number of distributions here in Phoenix and Surprise, but in addition, we have 700 partners and 250 partners here in Phoenix, whether it's the City of Phoenix Senior Centers, whether it's St. Vincent de Paul, whether it's Creighton. So all of those folks get food from St. Mary's. We provide that food at no cost. And so our goal is to continue to lean into this network, to support this network with food, with additional resources, and volunteers. Because part of the challenge is not just buying food, but it's actually getting all the logistics right to handle this increase. And I think that's what all of us in the room today are focused on. It's helping our teams be ready for this surge.
If this gap continues, do you guys think it's going to affect the food during the holiday seasons here at the food bank?
Yeah, I would say that all of us see a spike in November and December. That is the busiest time of the year for all of us. And so to layer this on top of that is going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge. We will distribute, St. Mary's and our partners will distribute over 30,000 Thanksgiving meals. We're already scheduled to do that throughout Arizona. We are stepping up our efforts to be able to handle a surge on top of that.
So I guess this is a question for all of you guys. When SNAP benefits run out tomorrow, what kind of surge and increase in numbers of people visiting do you expect here in November, December, if it lingers?
It's a really hard one to understand because we know some SNAP recipients receive food from us already. So for those folks, they may be coming more frequently. But we know many folks aren't necessarily using us today. But what I would tell you is that what we've seen in the last 7 to 10 days is about a 10% increase. So I think folks are nervous, and when you have anxiety or uncertainty on top of uncertainty on top of uncertainty, that leads to anxiety. And so I think folks are starting to realize and be concerned about what happens November 1, and they're already taking some action.
And maybe someone else want to add to that who hasn't?
I would just add that, so many times I hear from people, what can my little contribution do? And I think what you're hearing from all of us, what Milt just shared, is in your local neighborhood, there is a food pantry. And if you can go to the grocery store and you can pay your bill, then perhaps you can help somebody who won't be able to pay that bill. And all of those contributions, no matter how small, are going to be important right now to meet that kind of demand. I think we're going to see longer lines. We're also going to see, especially in the coming days, if nothing changes, this idea of scarcity. So that's why you're seeing an increase already. Because I know if I'm a mom and I've got kids at home and nothing's coming on November 1st, that I have to figure out what to do. And I'm willing to go and sit and wait in a line as long as I need to, because I don't know if that food's going to run out. And that's what families are going to experience. And that's when we see that, and you will see that on the news. When you see that, I hope that each one of us that can will do something, can really step up. Nothing is too small. Grocery stores collect at the register. You know, there are food drives that will happen. There are all kinds of places to give, and we see people doing that already. So for those folks who have already stepped up, restaurants giving free meals, people who are saying, hey, I'll buy your groceries, just I'll have a grocery buddy, all those things matter. And so I just invite all of us in the city of Phoenix and the state of Arizona, if we are blessed, we can share that blessing. And that's what we do. That's what this state is. That's what this city is. We step up to help people.
You know, as I look around, I kind of see myself as the smallest nonprofit here, but I just grew by my friendship and partnership here. I deal with the unhoused community, the homeless community. And the saddest thing I've experienced in the last couple of days is standing outside of a grocery store. I'm sorry, it gets a little emotional, but standing outside of a grocery store, handing out food cards, and knowing that when I run out of food cards, somebody walking into that grocery store, because people show up at places where they think they can get help at. And we're dealing with a crisis, and we know that most of the people here, most of us eat around 7 o'clock at night. And most of the places that do this all the time aren't open 24 hours a day. And I encourage you to think about people with little children that may be unhoused, that may be homeless, that are trying to get their next meal, and this avenue of approach just got closed. And some of these people, they always get, I know the pastor, they get my phone calls late at night. I know city, they get my phone calls late at night. And just consider reaching out to just a small group of people that's around you. If we do this small, we'll get this done big. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and this is Pastor Cleo Lewis.
Mayor, I know you mentioned proteins. Is there any other types of food that food banks really need? Is there a shortage of anything in particular?
Beth, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Hi, Beth Fiorenza from Nourish Phoenix. Proteins are essential, of course, for that sustainability, but also things kids love, right? We're feeding families the mac and cheese, different things that the kids may love. I always tell people, if you're going shopping for your own family, buy a few extra items and donate those.
Excellent display, Caleb.
And today's Halloween. We don't want kids trick-or-treating for food. We want them trick-or-treating for fun.
It has been reported before the shutdown, before this SNAP crisis, that it has been more people coming to the food banks looking for assistance. Do you have a percentage you can share with us?
Before the shutdown, before this SNAP crisis, last year we saw a 15% increase, and the first 3 months of our fiscal year, so the last 3 months, we've seen another 10% increase on top of that. And I think what we hear is that there's just basic inflation in food, housing, prescription, utilities that's stretching Arizonans today, and that's why they're leveraging the resources of a number of nonprofits. I think the real risk here is that these potential pause in SNAP benefits will lead to a surge on top of that.
So it's like a 25% before the shutdown, and you expect another 10% on top of that?
We expect a significant increase above that.
Bill, I'd like to hear from you about the public response since it's become too apparent that SNAP was running out. What are you seeing in terms of public response?
Yeah, we've had a significant outreach from the community. I mean, I will tell you that I am blown away by the support that we've received in terms of food donations, volunteers. We have more volunteers signing up on our website than ever before, and we've continued to see an increase in financial donations. Not just ourselves, but also as I talk to my partners, they are seeing increased interest in the work that we do. And so I think this is just a great time for the community to rally, and I appreciate the work of Mayor Gallego in pulling us together. While this is a very difficult situation, I think this is also a great opportunity for all of us to rally together and take care of each other.
Yeah, I'm curious about the corporate response. We have, I can only say this as an example of McDonald's coming forward, for example, or local businesses coming forward to donate.
Yes, well, we've had a number of local businesses reach out to volunteer, to contribute, and I know there's a number of restaurants here in Phoenix that are doing some unique things to ensure that meals are available for SNAP recipients. Any other questions? I'll hand it back to the mayor.
Thank you so much for joining us today for such an important topic. We appreciate your partnership.